Good morning, my friends from the interwebs. Survive with Knife here again with another knife review. This morning I'm actually doing my knife review outside. It's a beautiful morning, and so if you hear a little background noise and stuff just outside, I thought I'd get some better lighting out here, and just a beautiful day to be outside. So I have just a cardboard table set up here and doing the review on there. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Zero Tolerance 301. Absolutely excellent knife. Loves this knife. This is my favorite knife in my collection. Now, the one thing I do have to say about this knife, and I'll get to this my last talking point, but I do have to say when it comes to value, I would say that this knife is a low value knife, though. It does not have the value, I believe, or at least bang for your buck, or whatever other term you want to use, as its smaller brother, the 350. You're just getting a lot more knife for your dollar with the 350 than you are with the 301. 301, you're paying a lot of money for the cool factor, which is, that's why it scores 10 out of 10 for me in the cool factor. That's why I was willing to pay the extra coin for the knife, simply because I just love the knife. I just think that it's good looking. It's solid. It's built like a tank. I mean, this knife is well built, but I really don't think, when it comes to high value, I really don't see that. The handle scales on this knife, on the one side is a texturized G10, and I'll throw a little pre-on on there so you can see that. Put my hand behind there. Texturized G10, very grippy. Gives you very good purchase with the knife. The opposing side, with the frame locking side of the knife, that is titanium, blackened titanium, and that gives you a very good purchase on the knife. The titanium side, however, does not have the same grippiness as the G10, as would be expected, but very comfortable in hand. I do have to say the texturized G10, though, on the 301, I don't believe has the same grip factor as the G10 on the 350. The locking mechanism, as I already mentioned, on this knife is a frame lock. It has the hinderer right here. The hinderer is a component here that prevents overextension of the frame lock when putting the knife back in. Prevents you from overextending that. The frame lock does go past the midpoint of the blade, as you can see there, and is flush at this point here with the surface of the blade of the knife, making it for a very, very strong lock. I mean, this knife, when it is locked in place, is the closest equivalent you can get to a fixed blade, in my opinion. Has a very, very strong pivot point. That's a 3/8 inch hex head pivot shaft nut, which is very strong. And the reason they did this is so that you can take this pivot point out and adjust it so forth with just standard tools, which you may have laying around, even though everything else is Torx head, as you can see, which is traditional in the knife community, most knives being torqued, except I believe Emerson has, I don't own an Emerson, but I believe some of them have Phillips, but everything else is Torx except for the pivot point, which is a 3/8 inch nut on there. So the pocket clip on this knife is 4 points of carry, which, as you guys have previously seen my knife reviews, you know that I rave about that. All knife manufacturers, if possible, should make it so that their knife can be carried in all 4 positions, so that, you know, their users, their buyers, can carry the knife the way they want to carry it. I prefer left side tip down. That is my preference, and with this knife I can do that. However, I don't know if you guys notice, left side tip down, the clip, because of the pivot point right here, is offset from the center, versus on the right side you'll notice that it is centered, because that screw head there is flush with the surface of the handle material right there, with the titanium scale. Jimping on this knife is pretty aggressive. It's very large jimping, if you guys can see it there. It doesn't have any jimping past the scales of the knife. The blade portion right here has no jimping on it. I do wish they did have some up in here, but they don't. But that's also a very comfortable position for my thumb for choking up on the knife, and I don't know that I really will miss it too much. It also does have jimping on the reverse of the knife right here. So if you flip that knife around, you have some jimping there for your thumb in the reverse grip position. The blade steel on this is S30V, which in my opinion is one of the best pocket knife stainless steel blade steels there is out there. For my fixed blade knives, I do prefer 1095, but for my pocket knives, I do really like S30V. It's extremely sharp, and that goes on to the next talking point, is the factory edge. I have not touched up this edge at all since I received it, and it is, just in one word, excellent. Shaving sharp. I can, with no problem, remove all the hair off my arm, which my wife would probably not be very happy about that. So shaving sharp, directly from the factory. Now that was unlike the 350. 350 I did have to touch up a little bit, did not have as sharp of an edge as I would have liked, even though the grind on this knife was better. The 350 versus the 301, I find the grind to be actually kind of uneven, and I would expect a little bit more from a knife that MSRP is at $325, which I did have to play fairly close to that, because this knife right now is seems to be a factory shortage. I can't seem to find it on any dealer websites out there at all. I did have to buy this off eBay actually. I was not able to find it at Blade HQ, Knife Center, or any of the other popular knife websites, dealers out there. Just unavailable everywhere I looked. So I did have to pay kind of a premium for this, more than I would typically pay for a knife. But I really wanted it, so I got it. So this knife, just like the 350, has kind of a spear point, clip point blade. Some very good belly right here for cutting tasks. A very strong tip. You can see there, the thickness of the blade goes out very close to the tip, making it probably not an excellent stabber, but giving it a very strong point, which that's what this knife is. This is a very strong, hefty knife. So you wouldn't want a weak point on a very strong, hefty knife. So I think they've done very well with that. I really do like the blade shape on that. It just has a wicked look to it. And in talking about the blade, this is also does have the tungsten DLC coating. Now I have been EDCing this knife for a while, and I don't have any wear on this. Now I have not been EDCing this one as long as I have the 350. However, the 350, the coating on it has been holding up very well. I've got no wear actually on it at all, and I've been using this knife for quite a while. The knife weight on this, knife is 8 ounces, which is extremely high. It is a very heavy knife. Don't be fooled by that at all. It is definitely heavy, which would be expected, you know, with that thick of a blade, with has very thick G10 scales, as titanium scale, with a solid liner, no skeletonization at all on the liner. So it is a very hefty, heavy-duty, very large pivot point. All that contributes to the weight of the knife. But for me, weight is not a big deal. I don't mind a heavy knife. I know a lot of people out there really want something that's light. That's just not me. That's not one of the the huge points for me in a knife. I think this is all good weight. It's excellent weight, feels very good in hand, is very quick in hand despite its weight. There it caught a little bit, but and deploys quite well. One-handed operation, very easy with the frame lock. And the next thing we're going to go to is the blade deployment. This has the Speed Safe by Ken Onion. You can see Ken Onion design actually on there. This does have the Speed Safe assisted opening technology, and I really love that the Speed Safe design. This is like my 5th knife with Speed Safe assisted opening, and when I first got it out of the box, I was a little disappointed because the blade, unless you really gave the flipper or the thumb stud a really hard flick, the blade was not always fully extending out. It would maybe extend about that far, and then you would have to lock it in by pressing the thumb stud. Since using the knife, I have not placed any oil or anything in there. Since using the knife the blade has been fully deploying. However, I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, but you notice the blade does not come out extremely fast. And that is opposed to the Speed Safe on my 350. This 350, that blade, comes out lightning quick, which is my experience with all my other Speed Safe knives. My Volt, my Scallion, and a couple others that I have. It's very quick. This one here is kind of, I would say the word would be lethargic. Now, I don't know if that is simply this knife or if a lot of the 301s are that way, but so far mine has been that way. I have not messed with the pivot point. I really don't want to loosen it any, but that may speed that up. Maybe drop a little rem oil in there. However, I did that with one of my other Speed Safe knives, and actually that that slowed it down more than it sped it up. So I don't know if I'm going to put any oil in there or not. Ergonomics. This blade is so far is very comfortable in my hand. I have not developed any hot spots with its usage. Feels very good. Feels like I'm really holding on to something. Gives me a lot to hold on to with that thick handle, and is very comfortable. I really like that thumb ramp there on the back of the blade for choking up on the knife. This knife's roll. I believe this knife's roll fits all 4 bills very well. It's a good tactical self-defense knife, survival knife, hunting knife, and utility knife. That's one thing that I love about this knife and why I EDC it. And I believe the 350 falls into that role also, with just some better value by the fact that you get almost all the same stuff in just about a 10% smaller form factor. Let me lay those beside each other so you can kind of see. This knife, according to Zero Tolerance, is 10% smaller than the 301. But you're going to get this knife for 1/3 of the price of this one here. I believe I got this one for $99 shipped to my door, and this one here I paid, I believe, $285 for, which is higher than what I would have wanted to pay for it, but it's out of stock everywhere I looked. So cool factor. Well, I already talked about this. This knife scores 10 out of 10, at least for me. That's my opinion on it. For maybe some of you others, maybe it's not as cool to you as it is to me, but if I whip this thing out, people usually make comments. So I do like Strider knives. However, Strider don't give me the ability to carry the knife the way I want to, so that's why I really like this Zero Tolerance. This is actually done in conjunction, by the way, with Strider. Strider and Kershaw came together to make this Zero Tolerance knife. So, and I already talked about price. Price, I think it is high for what you get, but so in the value category, it probably scores pretty low. But you do have to remember, you are getting Speed Safe assisted opening, you're getting a titanium frame lock, and you're getting S30V steel. So, and just a beautiful, wicked looking blade. So there you go, guys. There's my review on the 301. Hope you guys have a good day. We'll talk to you later.